Good morning, Saul.
Morning, Stan.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Will.
Hello, Will.
Stan, I have workmen coming sometime between now and the next half hour. So I'd like to do the membership right after I do the VP. Would that be okay? Okay, thanks.
Yeah, we could do that.
I don't know when this guy's coming, but he said sometime after 10:30.
First item of business is agenda changes, so we'll make that note.
Okay, thank you. By the way, Jim Fagocci is not renewed, and I believe that he has to be a member to be on the board.
Yes, I would think so. He's not renewed?
I don't have him as having renewed. Maybe he has and I missed it.
Well, we'll have to ask him about that if he signs in today.
Yeah.
Who were you talking about, Jim Fagocci?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a strange one.
I think he's just overlooked it, but
Let's see, I suppose I could go to somewhere. Could go to PayPal, maybe. Ah,
Well, Will just sent out the membership report and it has the expiration dates in it. So Will should be able to look up Jim in his own membership report and tell us.
no,
I am telling you right now, he is
He's-
not renewed according
he's
to
not
my,
So then we don't need to look for it.
according to my records.
yeah, but if Will missed it,
Yeah.
Then we need to correct it.
But the PayPal automatically sends us email acknowledging receipt of funds, does it not?
It does, but I may have missed it.
And what if he paid by check?
I would
Then it
know
comes
that.
through mail.
Yeah, I would know
And I
that.
have a question about that, is now having a key to the PO box. And I could talk about it now, or I could talk about it during the meeting, but I would like to understand exactly what the procedure is if I have to pick up mail and there are checks. Everything except checks can be scanned and forwarded to the appropriate office. But a check needs to be deposited. And so I'm wondering if I need to forward that check to Miriam and have her deposit it, or anyway, I don't want to get too far into it outside the meeting, but
No, I mailed the checks to Miriam.
understand that procedure. Morning, Miriam. We were just talking about you.
Good morning.
Good morning. I was saying I mail checks to Miriam when they arrive.
Well, that, I guess that works, but it seems awkward, but
Well,
It
don't know any
works 'cause
other.
we don't meet physically anymore, so it works.
okay.
Now,
Is
I
it
understand you
possible-
can deposit checks though without physically
That's what I'm
having the
asking.
check go to the bank.
I do. I deposit the checks using my phone.
Is there a way that I could do that so that you don't have to physically have the check?
I guess if we made you on the checking account, I don't think you could have access to that.
Okay,
I
But
would
not a-
hope that you can't.
it's not a big deal, you know. It's,
Yeah.
It would be easier to do a forwarding order to Miriam with the post office. That way she could get the checks directly and not have to have you forward them, either of you two gentlemen.
You mean if all the mail that came to the post office came to me instead?
Yes.
Uh,
How much other mail is there other than checks?
very little, you know.
Exactly my point. Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah, well then, but we
The
couldn't,
problem with
I don't know if you
mailing
can
is in
make a
two
permanent
different
change.
locations.
The forwarding with the post office is complicated. I do a for a temporary change every time I go back and forth. But the permanent one, I don't know if you can have a permanent forwarding address from a PO box and still keep the PO box.
Well, it may not have to be permanent.
Since
I
you
just
move around
meant
anyway.
you could try it, is what I'm saying. Do a trial for 3 months and see how it works.
Oh, I
I'll
could do it
inquire
for
into
the
that
3
and see
months
what we
that
can do.
December, January, February, maybe 4 months. A temporary every year from December through March.
Let me
Or through-
inquire into it at the post office and see what we can do. That does sound like a good idea.
Yeah, we could do that.
Why don't you just change the address in the on the website?
That
Tell them to mail the
gets,
checks into
Then
whoever
everybody
you
would
want
have
to get.
my address.
that-
And that's
that-
no good because I'm only here half the year.
yeah.
And, you know, at some point, we may decide that some other person is going to do that. So it's better to have a spot that's not attached to a person,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it can forward to a person.
right.
Alright,
I
well,
think that's a good suggestion that we have it for 3 or 4 months of the year. We have it forwarded to me so the checks come directly. Yeah. And we have fewer checks than we have PayPal payments.
Yeah, we only have less than half a dozen checks.
Yeah, it's about a half a dozen.
okay, I'm gonna call timeout on this discussion. I'm sorry I started it. Um, I would
And-
like to call the
And
meeting to order.
PayPal has no record of Jim Fagaci's
Okay.
payment in the last
I'd
year.
like to call the meeting to order at 10:31. And the first item on the agenda is agenda changes. And Will has requested that his item be brought forward to the next item, as he has a conflict coming up. So I would like to recognize Will Wakely for his report.
Okay. Let me share the screen.
I thought you were just going to move it up the agenda, not to the beginning, Stan.
I don't
I thought
know.
Will just asked to put it after administration.
I don't know that that's a big problem, is it?
No, I just was trying to clarify what you asked for.
Yeah, I did ask for it to be. Okay. Can people see?
I-
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So essentially there has been um, no change really from March, other than we dropped 10 people from last year. And so we now currently have 37 active members. Any questions? I did mail out this to all the board members. I also mailed out a name, address of all of our members. So you have all that information too. If there are no questions, thank you
Well,
very much.
Have we dropped 10 from 37, so we now have 27? Or,
No,
No, we
uh,
dropped 10 from 47 to 37.
oh, from 47 to 30, so I got you. All right, I missed that. All right, thank you.
Okay.
And I
Thank you.
just want to thank Will for sending out the membership report and also putting the total at the bottom instead of at the top, and that the numbers match the report.
Okay, good,
Okay,
folks.
very good. Motion to accept.
I don't know,
Motion to
we never
accept.
had that requirement before.
If you need a second on it or a first, I'll do it. Okay.
Saul made the motion. Prez can't make a motion.
Mhm.
Was there a
Okay.
second? Saul has made the
I-
motion.
I
David
will,
seconds.
I will second to, you know.
All right, the motion's been made to accept the membership report. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
abstain. The motion carries unanimously. All right.
Just a comment, that's never been required in the past. Do we want to start requiring a vote on the membership report?
Well, I think that's your report. That's what you submit. And you accept our comments and make the adjustments. and
Okay, that's fine with me. I'm just saying that it's never been required in the past, that's all.
Well, I think this is just a clarification, and so long as you agree that it's acceptable, I think that's your prerogative as membership chairman.
Yeah, that's fine. I have no
Okay.
problem with it.
All right, moving on to the next item is minutes of the previous board meeting. They have been submitted. I trust you all have seen them. I see no problem. Does anyone else see any corrections to the minutes?
And I just wanted to say that, thank you for those people that do give me corrections when I send out the draft, because that makes it so that we have no surprises at this meeting.
Yes. Thank you for your participation, Walt. Thank you.
I move we accept the
What's the motion?
secretary's report.
So a motion to accept the minutes.
Will made the motion, Stan.
Okay, second,
I'll second.
Saul seconds, all in favor of the motion, aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries unanimously. President's report. I got the key. Talking before the meeting started about the procedures. And it seems very complicated considering we get some checks by mail and they need to be deposited. And that needs to be done by Miriam, who is a bi-coastal member. And there's some problems with that. I think we'll just try to continue with as we've been doing it. The procedure has been, Will Wakely will mail the checks to Miriam. And she will deposit them when she receives it. And so long as that's working, that'll be fine. And if by necessity I need to pick up mail from the PO box, which I have established, I've found where the box is located and where parking is and such. So I now have a key and I can access the mailbox. So I will follow whatever procedure Will establishes as his routine practice.
I'll inquire at the post office about forwarding to Miriam.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Will. All right, moving forward. Public relations. Willie, do you have any comments you'd like to suggest?
Well, I have an update on, I've talked to my sister's the president of a nonprofit organization that she's been running for a few years. And I sent her one of the brochures electronically and asked her to pass it out to whomever she might think is interested in this. She she has contacts with a lot of different age groups. I'm not sure if the seniors is anywhere close to what she does, but she certainly has a lot of contacts in Rancho Bernardo community, including the Rancho Bernardo Community Center, which is a senior community. So she's going to pass that around wherever she sees fit. And then I also had my daughter bring the same brochure down to the Park de la Cruz Center, Recreation Center, which also provides a certain amount of senior technology classes at their center. So I had her bring it down there today and maybe post it on one of their bulletin boards. Unfortunately, their bulletin boards are behind glass, so it's not something people can take or look at. I mean, they can see it behind the glass, but she's not sure she's going to be allowed to put it back there, but they have a bulletin board. So that's all I got for this month.
All right, thank you.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so get the word out.
Yeah, well, Willie, I just want to say thank you. Every month you have something new to report, which is good.
Okay.
No,
Amen.
okay. And I'm still forwarding, I have a regular weekly walkabout Zoom meeting, and in that invitation, I add Hank's invitation to the Saturday meeting. So all of our active walkabout people with emails get a reminder that they're invited to the SCG meeting on Saturday. And we have people that way too, so that works.
Yeah, there's another thing I wanted to add. Hank did send me, or somebody in the group here sent me an invitation to the AppSug meeting. It was a Saturday Safari meeting on advertising and marketing, and I did attend that. It was about a 2.5, 3-hour meeting. And it was mostly, interesting thing was, it was mostly about clubs or groups that were folding and what they could do to prevent the dissolution of their groups. And they were joining groups together and becoming like freewheeling clubs that didn't have any organization whatsoever. Very interesting way of looking at it. It wasn't much on advertising or marketing, is what I thought it was going to be, but it was very interesting. So they have a videotape of their whole meeting that I have access to.
So Willie, what was that name of that meeting that you attended?
They call it I think it's called Saturday Safari. It's through the AppSug International.
Okay.
They have the regular, I think, Wednesday meetings.
Mhm.
I'm not sure the day of the week, but they're every once in a while on a Saturday. I think every Saturday, every month, they have a longer running program.
Well,
It takes place during our meeting here, so I was not present for a couple.
yeah, I was going to say, this is our regular Saturday Safari.
Right. Exactly. So theirs starts at like 9. It goes from 9 to 12 or something like that. It's worthwhile once in a while. I mean, I actually went to another meeting this week. It's not related to marketing, but I joined the Channel Islands user group, PC user group, just sat in on a meeting yesterday, or Wednesday night, just to see how they hold their meetings and do stuff. It's not much difference. They tended to spend a lot more time on one subject. The whole hour was just on routers. Just trying to get a feel for what other groups are doing in terms of marketing.
Yeah, and we appreciate that as well.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Willie. Moving forward, programs report. Hank, do you have anything to add?
I'm about ready to put out another plea for subjects from the board. I am one 1 week away from running out of ideas. I've got something scheduled for next week, but after that, it's blank. And talking about, I was listening to Stan say, as he has many times, that he has forwarded my email to the Walkabout group. How many of you have a general interest email list that you send, you forward jokes or the latest information on Donald Trump or anything? How many of you have that kind of an email list that maybe you could forward my weekly invitation to? Wave your hand. Nobody? Well, I'm afraid that's the end of my report. Something.
Good idea, though, Hank. Thank you for mentioning that. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Stan,
Yes?
can I just ask, was there on item 4, does Will have anything more to say? It seems like we skipped that.
Oh, the VP report.
Wrote for public relations.
No, I don't have
That
anything.
was the first item we took.
Well, we didn't
VP
ask for-
administration report,
Yeah.
okay?
No, I didn't do that. The answer is I don't have anything to report in that area. However, I would ask Hank.
At the beginning of the meeting, Will, was to take care of that. You said you're gonna have to drop out.
I said
Excuse me.
membership.
Excuse me, Stan, I thought he did item 8.1 membership at the
Okay,
beginning of the meeting, not item 4,
all right.
VP administration report.
I was thinking of it as Will Wakely et al.
Okay.
All right, Will, do you have anything to add at this time for administration report?
No, but I would like to ask if there's any interest in having a presentation on Chat CPT. And is that something we could do? Anybody have any interest in that for Hank?
We had a presentation on it, Will, not very long ago.
Did we? Okay. I
Yeah,
don't recall.
Hank did a presentation. I mean, he had a session on it.
Okay.
It's on the SCG website.
And I have put up.
My background. This is Steve Breen editorial cartoon from yesterday. And if you notice, it's the traditional ascent of man
Oh, yeah.
drawing, and comes up to modern man, and then he shows modern man working with AI, and the final iteration is AI with a modern man on a leash. Just a thought. I thought
On the
it
subject of
was sharing.
on the subject of GPT, I have put several items that have been suggested on the general subject of AI on the Bits and Bytes page of our website. If you all don't go there and look at that now and then, you should. Saul is particularly good at sending me interesting stuff that we should have available and understand.
Well, thank you all for your support of programs. That's what we need.
Hank, when you put stuff up there, maybe in the, a notice to say, okay, X new items added to Bits and Bytes.
That's a good idea. I'll try. Problem is that I may not think of it whether or not there has been one in the last week, and I need to go check.
Well, it's just one of the things that most of us have busy lives and we don't think about things unless we get pinged.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'd like to move on to the treasurer's report. Marion?
Hello, I sent everybody copies of the cash flow and net worth statements for the month of March. At the beginning of the month, we had $5,189.83 in the checking account. And at the end of the month, we had $5,040.83. The account activity was 3 memberships at $15 each and a payment for the post office box rental of $194, which I think was for 2 years. It seems to me that last year we failed to pay, but they didn't throw us out. So anyway, that's now taken care of. I wanted to bring up the issue of the
Before we get to
501.
that, Miriam, I have a question. Why is the postal box an uncategorized item? Why shouldn't it be categorized as a postal service or something like that?
What do you mean categorized?
Well, in your report, it was listed as an uncategorized expense. And that's
Oh,
a,
no, in the accounting system, it's in as, I think, either postal expense or something of that sort.
well, on the
It's
report
under
you
operations.
submitted, it said uncategorized expense.
Where do you see uncategorized
I'm
expense?
sorry, I don't have it in front of me right now.
Oh, no, I just said a payment. I called it a payment in
Okay,
my, because I have my email in front of me.
okay, my mistake.
Okay.
Back to your point about the 501(c)(3), Miriam.
Well, I have been working on that. I had some difficulties. I have now, I think, finished everything. So, but I haven't mailed it out yet because a change has occurred. It used to be free. And now what used to be free costs $25 a year. So I think we need to think about what are the benefits for us of being a 501(c)(3) organization. Now, the only benefit I know of is that the people who pay the dues get to use it as a tax deduction. And I don't think that counts for very much anymore since the tax reform has made the standard deduction what most people are using. I don't know whether there's some other benefit that, you know, maybe we appear bigger or better than we are for being a 501(c)(3. But I wanted to bring the issue up before I mailed in the $25. Saul?
Like to be
Could you just clarify who gets the $25? Is that the state of California?
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
think it's the Attorney General's office. And then every other year we pay $20 to the Secretary of State. We paid it last year.
I have some vague recollection of an intangible benefit of just saying we're a charitable organization. And I can't tell you where I remember our hyping ourselves as that, but there's a vague memory that that was beneficial, and that's all I can give you.
Well, I think that was true in past years when the donation amount was, you could itemize your donations and you could claim a donation to SCG as a tax deductible donation. That's greatly changed as the more recent tax laws have made the default or minimum pay, or I forget what they call it.
Standard deduction.
Standard deduction has greatly reduced that benefit. And I think what Miriam is asking, is there any reason other than that, which seems to be greatly reduced? And if that's the only reason we keep the 501(c)(3), she's offering the opinion, in my opinion, that we dump it. We just stop responding. We decline to respond and save $25 a year.
I would agree with I would agree with Hank that just being able to tell people that we're a nonprofit is worth $25 a year.
And if somebody decides that someday that they want to leave us $1,000 in their will,
That's a good point.
that
Well, do you want to, Saul has a comment?
I just concur with Hank and Will. I think you're looking at this from a taxpayer's point of view, a membership point of view. You should be looking at it from the organization's point of view. And it's not just $25. Obviously, there's the nonprofit tax returns to file and all that stuff. But if it's $25 and that's what we're quibbling about, I think we got enough in the treasury to cover it for quite a while. Okay. And I think if, as Hank said, if somebody wants to make a donation and gets above that standard deduction and wants to gift something to us, I think there was a little donation, I think, on the current treasurer's report. So I would keep it.
Okay, if I may ask, for those of you who are in favor of continuing the 5013 status, are any of you volunteering to accept the task of doing that? It's not necessarily the treasurer's responsibility to do that. That seems to me to be a separate task that could be assigned to the secretary or any other vice president. So I don't see that it needs to be handled by the treasurer. Miriam, I think, is expressing a concern that it is a problematic situation. Does anybody else want to take on that task of being responsible for maintaining 501c3 status?
You might want to ask Ray what his opinion is.
Well, and also ask, Miriam, if she's willing to train somebody else how to do it.
I'd be happy to show people what I've done. I took it because it was being abandoned. And I knew we had to do it at one point, but I would be happy to train someone.
I think there are two questions, and you shouldn't put the two of them, you shouldn't link them to
Right.
the first question is, do we want to do it as an association? And the second question is, who's going to do it? And I suggest, Stanley, that you separate those.
I agree.
All right, then I will accept a motion to, I think the motion should be to stop 5013C. If that fails, that means we're going to continue. And if we're going to continue, we'll talk about who's going to do it. If anybody wants to propose a motion to stop our status with, well, make it as you will, but you have my opinion.
Sure.
Miriam, yeah. Okay.
Failing no motion, I assume we continue.
Correct.
Okay.
And by the way, I know we're on Zoom and we may never go back in person, but there is a benefit in being a nonprofit if you're trying to get access to a venue to hold a meeting or an event.
Good point. Good
Yes.
point. Miriam, how
Yeah,
much work is
that-
involved
that
in
is
this
a
other than,
factor.
Graham,
It's
how much
mostly
work is involved?
aggravation, and my failing to remember exactly how to do it. It's probably a couple hours.
So my question was, did Ray used to do this before Miriam did it?
No, Mel Weekly did it.
Mel Weekly did it. Okay. Then
Yeah.
I did
I
it,
retract
but-
my prior statement.
I would accept a volunteer who would like to relieve Miriam of that task that she finds onerous.
Is that true, Miriam?
Well, it was a little difficult this year. So I think some things changed and I had forgotten how to do it and I kept putting it off, but it's done now.
Well,
And,
I would just say that I'm on the board of other nonprofits, and traditionally it's the treasurer that does handle that task.
Oh, really? Oh, I just took it on because nobody else was doing it and I thought it needed doing. That's how
Okay.
it came to me.
I would suggest that maybe Miriam could write up the procedure for doing it now that she's just done it. And we give that to the secretary to memorialize.
Well, I was gonna write it up, so if I have to do it again next year, I have a tool for helping me, yeah,
And the organization would appreciate those notes.
okay. All right, I will do that.
Okay, so Miriam is going to copy her summary of task to the secretary, David, as I understand it.
Yes,
All right, very good. Thank
but
you.
we haven't approved the treasurer's report yet.
I
Mhm.
move we
I'm
accept the
sorry.
treasurer's report as submitted.
I'd second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we accept the treasurer's report. Willie, have a comment before vote? Oh, okay.
That was the vote.
All right, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Abstained? The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, membership, old business. Any old business anybody wants to resurrect?
I have to leave the meeting at this point.
Okay, thanks for being here, Will. Appreciate your input. Okay. Director at large comments around the table. Ray Slater, would you like to contribute?
No, I'm just happy to see the membership report designed so that it's understandable.
Okay, thank you. Arlene Ray,
Well, I continue to try and help with the tech sessions here at Atria. And there are a lot of people whose families have decided as the iPhones get phased out, they're getting their family into the consumer cellular smartphone. And so I've been working on teaching them how to navigate, how to get back the apps that they're used to using on the iPhone, which are mostly available for Androids as well. And that's about it.
okay, Arlene, are you making the SCG meetings available to the people where you are staying?
Yes, but we have 2 other meetings here that conflict.
I see, okay, understand, thank you.
Mhm.
All right,
Arlene, if you're, yeah, good for telling other people how to do that, maybe you could show us and offer that up as a topic one week.
But mostly it's one-on-one stuff.
Okay,
okay, moving forward, Jim Fedacci. Jim, it has been mentioned. Okay, I'll get to Debbie as soon as I finish with the directors at large, Debbie. Jim, we understand you are not currently paid. Is that your understanding?
It's quite possible. I will submit my payment.
Are you going to do it by check or online?
I would need to know how to submit the payment.
You got 2 choices. You can mail a check to the post office box, or you can go to the website, and in the drop-down menu that says join and about us, there is a link to the PayPal place where you can chip in your $15 and it goes into the kitty. So
All
the
right.
place to start is the website under join.
Okay, I can pay through my bank through Bill Payer Plus through the San Diego County Credit Union. And doing it that way, I would just need an address to send the payment.
use the post office box address.
All right.
All right, thank you, Jim. Any other comment you'd like to make since we're recognizing directors at large? I'll take that as a no. Okay, so,
Can I ask a question?
Excuse me, that's what I was going to address. Debbie has her hand up, but Debbie, right now we're in a board meeting. We're almost finished. I'm probably going to be the last person speaking, and then you'd be entitled to ask your question.
Thank
So
you.
hang on just a moment, okay? My only comment was that I will not be here next week because I have another commitment. So that's about the extent of mine.
okay, thank you. Debbie,
Yeah, so my question is, I thought I was tuning into something that's about training computers, but apparently I'm not. Is this for only people at Wesley Palms or?
okay, Debbie, if I may address your question, we hold a senior computer group Zoom meeting every Saturday of the month. And on the second Saturday of the month, the first item on that meeting is the board meeting, which you have joined, which you're welcome to join. As soon as we finish this up, which will be in a moment, we will be back into the Q&A. Normally on Saturdays, we have a special item of interest, and then we go into Q&A. But on the second Saturday, that item of interest is the Board of Directors meeting. Just in a few minutes, we'll conclude this meeting and it'll be turned over to Hank and Will for a Q&A session, and we will address your question.
And it is not limited to just Wesley Palms.
That's right. Okay, and the next meeting is May 13th. And with that, I adjourn the meeting and thank you all for being here. And I turn the meeting over to Hank and Will.
And Will has departed the scene, so Hank will
Okay,
questions, but I'll ask Saul if he'll help. Debbie, you're still there?
Yeah,
Your hand down. Does that answer your question?
no, I'm still trying to figure out if I should be in this or not, you know, and I don't remember how I heard about it. I think it was last week I joined it and I was asked where I heard about it, and I truly don't remember, but I thought it had to do with, I know Wesley Palms had computer training, and there's certainly no need for me to be involved in a board meeting because I don't live at Wesley
Okay.
Palms, you know.
Let me explain again. The board meeting is only once a month, and you happen to show up for the first time during the board meeting.
On the second Saturday?
The regular Saturday meetings are computer instruction. It's computer instruction by a presentation that we have. We've had recently some presentations on Chat GPT and artificial intelligence. We have
Okay.
had a session on a video editor that is free in Windows 10. Next,
Okay, so that's the type of thing I would be interested in. So on what days and times should I join that then? Is it 10:30 Saturdays?
it's 10:30 every Saturday, and if you will send me your email address, I'll make sure that you get an invitation by email every Thursday.
I'm getting to it without an invitation just because I bookmark your I guess website or whatever, but would it tell the topics? Like, do you know in advance what the topics are?
I'm sorry, what is your question?
Do you know in advance what the topics are, like what you're going to cover that
Yes.
Saturday?
In the Thursday invitation email, it describes what the subject is going to be of the topic.
Oh, that's perfect then. That's great. So should I give you my email now or?
Can you see the chat function? If you can see the chat function, put it in there. or just tell it to me if it's simple enough.
Okay, yeah, it's very simple. It's Martin, Martin, Debbie, Debbie, J at Yahoo.
Debbie, what?
J for Jeanette.
All
Martin,
put
Debbie.
together. Martin, Debbie, J, no underlines or dots.
Yes, all lowercase, all together, Martin, Debbie at Yahoo.
At yahoo.com. Okay,
Yes,
we'll
mhm.
be on the list.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. And are we
Well-
doing a training now then after this board meeting?
I'm sorry, yes.
For right now today? Okay, and what is the topic?
Oh, no, there is no special topic today. All we have after the board meeting on the second Saturday is questions and answers. People bring up a particular problem they're having with their computer this week or with their smartphone. And
Okay,
very often, someone here can solve that problem.
okay, so second Saturday, no topic, just an open chat basically after the 10:30 board meeting.
That's correct.
And that's every month. Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, and Debbie, the meetings usually have one main topic and then we have a section for Q&A and
Okay.
people bring whatever sort of problems they have and we will sometimes get several opinions and sometimes we will get none, but we will
that's
always be
wonderful.
willing to talk about it.
That's really, really wonderful. Thank you.
Do you have anything that you want to bring up that you're having trouble with your computer?
That I have a laptop and that the battery, if I don't use it for a day or two, the battery power goes down, even though, like, when I turn it off, it's fully charged. And then if I don't use it for a day or two, the battery power will be at like 70 or 80% or something like that.
Ross?
So there's no reason to really unplug the laptop. You can leave it plugged in forever. So it doesn't need to be unplugged, powered down. You just basically close the screen, and when you are ready to use it again, you open up the screen and go on from there. The battery can be replaced. They're about $50 for the battery, and then it depends on your setup. It takes about an hour to replace the battery, but you can run the computer without a battery. So I would not worry about it. I would leave the laptop again plugged in all the time and just use it that way.
Oh, really? Because I've been told not to do that. It's too hard on the battery, to unplug it when I'm not using it, which I've always been doing.
Okay, if I might, I'm a computer consultant. This is what I do for a living, and I've done it since the early 70s. Batteries are different now than what they used to be. Most of the laptops then will use what's called an adaptive charging, which says we know that you turn the computer off or stop using it about 6 o'clock and don't use it till the next day till 8. So they know they have that many hours to charge. So they will reduce the amount of charge that they're sending to the battery. But if you leave yours plugged in all the time, once the battery is charged, it goes back to a very, very low charge rate and will not hurt the battery.
Okay, what I have is a refurbished computer that I got through the Computers to Kids program. And this is my second one because it got hacked, the other one, and that one I didn't have this problem with. But I think that Computers to Kids would actually they would replace the battery if it's needed, but I was just wondering if I should, take it there.
Do you take the laptop with you when you go places?
It's never leaves my home, no. I'm not.
Then leave it plugged in all the time and you're good.
Okay.
Debbie, I have never had anything except laptops. I'm on about my fourth now since I started in the late 80s. And I've done exactly what Ross suggested for every one of those and never caused a problem.
Always kept them plugged in, even.
Always leave
Yeah.
it plugged in.
Oh, okay. So
I need-
I'm curious then, why would,
I'm sorry, what say?
Why have you had so many laptops? Like, do they break down or wear out, or you just like to upgrade, or?
Yes,
3 to 5 years, you need to replace the computer usually. As long as it's working, you can continue to use it, but it has been over time. After that 3 to 4 years, the computer is very, very slow. At this point, that's not so much. So if the computer's working for you, fine, use it till it stops working for you. But as far as saying you have to change it, you should get more than 5 years out of the life of a laptop now.
Yeah, I think that part of what happens is if you try to keep your laptop up to date, the updates tend to expect a more powerful machine as time goes on. And so that's why an old machine looks to get slower and slower when you try to keep it up to date. I mean, you can still run an old laptop in Windows 7 and it will still run exactly the same way. But if you want to have it with the current operating system, you probably need a more powerful machine than you had when you bought the Windows 7.
and I think that is what I remember caused me to upgrade. I'd be running something like Windows 7 and I couldn't upgrade to 10 because the computer didn't have enough memory or didn't have a fast enough processor or thing, and 10 wouldn't run on it.
Okay, so it was just like to upgrade. This is my first time, since COVID is the only reason I have a computer at all. I used to go to the library, so it's all still kind of new to me.
And Debbie, I just wanted to congratulate you on with your computer being capable enough to come into this meeting, because there's a lot of people that can't do this much. And so, give yourself a little pat on the back for doing that.
It's with a lot of help of others, and Computers to Kids helped me tremendously. I wouldn't be here without their help for sure.
Okay.
So, I think Sharon has her hand up.
Yeah, I think Debbie,
Yeah,
we've
thanks.
answered
Thanks,
your
everybody.
questions. And
Yes, you helped me tremendously. Thank you.
I'll recognize Sharon now.
Yes, thank you. I'm having a problem with the Google Maps. I live in an apartment complex and I'm getting Uber or Lyft to different meetings and or senior lunches or whatever. And their Google Map with Lyft and Uber is down, showing my address is down the street. So it's pinned improperly. So I went into Google Maps, and in Google Maps, I can see where the pin is for my address, and it's showing a photo of the back alley, which is certainly not where I live, and trying to figure out how to correct the pin to where my actual apartment building is, it would be helpful.
So do you have a Gmail account or any kind of Google
Yes.
account? Because you're required to have that. You
I
can
do.
you can contact Google and submit where the pin should be. I have done this, and they're actually, it may take them a couple of weeks to do it, but they get around to doing it. And I will say that Google addresses are not very accurate at times. I deal with them all the time, but they will correct it if you submit it.
Yeah, I
And,
had to submit it about 3 times because it kept saying you can't put an address in the street. So it didn't like where I
Yeah.
was trying to put the little pin. So I've tried moving the pin. Now they've sent it to they've accepted this particular pin address, but it doesn't show the building. It just shows trees. So I'm sort of don't know what I've done now. And the back alley one is still in there.
well, I'm just saying that's your only recourse with Google is to submit it to them, and then
Well,
it's up
Russ
to them.
maybe Russ knows how to better pin.
You have a cell phone?
No, I have an iPad.
So most of the services want you to have a cell phone so they can do.
Oh,
that.
I'm
And
sorry. Yes, I do have a cell phone for getting the service. It does not have internet. It's a cell phone and it receives text.
But you receive text messages. So it's a flip phone. It's not a
Correct.
smartphone.
Correct.
So that would be to me the better way if you would have a smartphone where it could have location services turned on, and it will then direct you directly to that device. You don't have
That's
to
great
worry
if I
about.
had the money, Russ.
Okay.
I just don't have the money. So I do have a flip phone. I am complying with their rules that you have to have a cell phone to even be picked up. So I am complying with the rules by having a flip phone. I just don't have the money for a smartphone. And all I'm trying to do is get the address on the GMAP pinned properly where it, when I click on that pin, I should see the front of my building, which has a big awning that says League House. Should be simple.
Sharon, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
When you go, have you gone to Google Maps,
Yes,
your computer,
yes,
and put in your physical address on the map search line?
yes. And that's where it showed me the back alley.
Okay.
Sharon, just so that we know, we could probably have a look. What is the address you're putting in?
Sure. 7465
7465.
Olivetas, Olivetas Avenue, La Jolla 92037.
Okay, La Jolla, California. So
I think if you put the pin on the building and submit it to Google, that's the way it's going to get
And
fixed.
I guess that's probably true, Saul. I just darn it don't have the skill.
You can't position it accurately enough.
Right. Every time I try to move the little pin, it tells me, well, you're in the street. You can't put an address in the street. So something on my lack of skills is not allowing me to place it properly.
Maybe you need to zoom in further into the Google Maps when you're doing it. That's what I do.
Okay.
And when you're zoomed in enough, it'll actually show you the street address numbers of each parcel. And when I'm zoomed in that far, you can position it very accurately.
Saul, do you use Street View? Is that what you use?
Well, not for this purpose. It's just the map view.
No, I
It-
mean, within the map, you can choose different views.
I know it's not the satellite or anything. It's just the regular map view.
David, did you find it yet?
oh yeah, I found it, and I see that, you know, it sort of looks like the pin, if I look at it, looks to be closer to the back half of the building, not the front half of the building.
Correct.
But I also see that there is a item on there that says League House that should also, you know, if you tell them to come to League House, and on Google Maps, that should get them to the right address.
Yeah,
No.
that's what I tell the senior, that's what I call JFS, Jewish Family Services, when I book the ride. They go ahead, they have the address, but they're sending them down the street, the Uber or Lyft, Google Maps.
Look, I don't want to belabor this, but I'm just saying that Google is not very accurate when they place street numbers on the streets. And I find it ironic that they wouldn't let you put the pin in the middle of the street because they do it all the time on their own maps. Okay, but the point is I reported one from somebody. You know how streets have odd numbered addresses on one side of the street and even numbered on the others. They had an odd number address on the even side of the street, and that's one that they did correct. That I moved. You know, I asked them to fix, and they did. And I positioned it very precisely, exactly where it was on the building. And they did fix it. That was years ago.
Wow.
Sorry, lost
Sharon,
the name who's talking.
Sharon.
Talking
Yes.
about, are the two of you talking about getting this corrected with Google the same way? How did you get this corrected, Saul? Did you talk on the phone with them or what?
You can't get anybody on the phone with Google. There is a place on their website in the maps where you can provide feedback. And when you do that, you can submit a correction. It's one of the choices, I think, on the left side, on the pane that comes up, to submit corrections to the map.
Okay.
But I was just saying that if you tell them to come to League House, they should get to the buildings because the League House.
They don't. They want a street address.
Right.
And that's 7465 Olivetas, and that's the address associated with League House.
Correct. I got a big awning out in front. It says the League House. It doesn't work. They go down the street or they go the back alley.
Sharon,
Sure.
I don't use a cell phone very often, and so I want to keep my expenses very low on it. And I've discovered I have a track phone. And if you go to the track phone website, they have low cost cell phones, and my service is $15 a month. So
And that has as a smartphone?
it is a smartphone,
Wow.
and you might take a look at their website.
Yeah, I
Um,
will because I have a jitterbug and it's like $25 a month for unlimited talk and text.
Well, take a look at track phone.
Okay.
Also, some of the phones that they have there are refurbished, but I've discovered that refurbished phones are
Yeah, I don't
great
care.
because everybody checks them out.
Right.
So take a look there.
Thank you for that suggestion. Didn't know that.
Okay, Will, you got your hand up. Is that something else you want to talk about?
Not anymore.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Nobody has any computer problems this week. That's great. All right, everybody, we'll see you next week. Well, hold on, Dan?
I just wanted to talk about that 503 thing. I didn't want to interrupt the board meeting since I'm not a member. But it costs you $25 and it takes you a couple hours a week, a couple hours a year to keep it up. If you ever dropped out and you wanted to get back into it, now you're talking about some real problems, probably. So you're probably better off staying there for the $25 a year.
And that is what we decided to do.
Okay, thank you.
Will?
Yeah, one additional thing. Earlier, we had an attendee by the name of Richard Micklau. He signed off probably because discovered he was in the middle of a board meeting. Does anybody know Richard Micklau and how he would come on our meeting? Okay, thank you.
Welcome back, Will.
Okay, I see no more hands. So I will bid you all aloha. And I'll
Oh, one additional thing, Jim Fagacci on here. Jim, I don't have you shown as
we got that
updated.
settled, Will. Jim said we'll pay.
I got that. It'll be in the mail.
Okay,
A
thank
check
you.
will be in the mail.
And before we all say goodbye, I just wanted to wish everyone a very happy Easter Day tomorrow.
Well,
Yes,
just wanted to ask Will, did we establish where Nick Lau came from? Did somebody acknowledge he could? Can I ask Will, how do you spell the last name? I'm looking it up in the walkabout.
I have Miklau, Micklau
Mhm.
is the way I would pronounce it.
And his first name?
Richard.
That might be easier to find. Hang on for just a moment. Let me look in the walkabout list.
Okay.
Richard Micklau. I'll look on the email list I send out.
Yeah, he has not been on here before.
Well, maybe he's found us through Willie and his efforts.
Yeah.
And because of the confusion that we caused with our first person, that maybe we should just tell anyone that when they come into the board meeting that this is a board meeting, we will be getting to question and answer at the end of the board meeting, which is roughly 11 o'clock.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I could not find him in the walkabout list.
Stan or I should do that at the beginning of board meetings. Okay. I keep trying to do this, but it hasn't happened yet. But I'm bidding you all aloha. And next week we will be talking about what an eSIM card is in a smartphone. Aloha.